Is this it? Yes, this is it. Okay. So this is the scene. This stadium, whatever the fuck this is full. You can see the garb they're wearing. It's full of people from Saudi Arabia. You know, the elites of their country or whatever, and several diplomats from all over the place, right? Yes, God Bless America is playing. The freaking Saudi prince, I believe, is the one who set all this up, and so he picked the music, I'm pretty sure. And so when I say it's a fucking Glazefest, I want you to understand just how much these two motherfuckers glazed each other during this. Like, look at this. Look at this. And they stand, and he stands there, and they listen the entire fucking song in Saudi Arabia.
What a great place.
Fuck. My bad. And they politely clap. How cool is that?
Well,
right?
Thank you very much.
Right? And so he goes on to like glaze this motherfucker, the crown prince, like over and over and over again, which is pretty funny. You know, the same guy that gave him a Boeing jet. Let me see. Okay, is it here? There's
Very much. Thank you.
And they start playing the YMCA at the end. Like I said, and they didn't even show the rest of it because it was hilarious. Because oh my goodness, and it's basically a lot of bullshit. They're trying to essentially, I do believe that Trump is trying to get all of the countries in the Middle East on side. What was I gonna do? Basically that what's the main thing that's going on there? My son's awake. I'm gonna have to smooth out some jank. Kind of what Saudi Arabia is doing. Yeah. So basically, he gives this speech, and obviously he takes shot at Joe Biden. He does all the normal Trump things. If you had the like bingo card, the shot bingo card, you'd be drunk as fuck after you did this, because he brought up Biden and how fucking dumb he was. He brought up the last administration and how fucking bad they were. He basically jerked himself off for about 10 minutes in between, you know, praising the Saudi prince. But essentially, he also said Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. And I think this is what's going on here, is that there's this big play where it feels like Trump is essentially cutting Israel out. And it looks like, from what I can tell, it's because Trump was, Benjamin Netanyahu disrespected Trump or some dumb shit like that. Right? So could you imagine, and the reason I say that is because of this post right here. A Gulf diplomatic source stated that President Trump will issue a declaration regarding the American recognition of Palestine. This comes amid a strain of relations between Trump and Netanyahu due to the Israeli prime minister attempts to sabotage American nuclear negotiations with Iran. So, and we've already, he said they're also going to lift sanctions on Syria, right? So that they can prosper now that the Assad regime is not in charge anymore. Even though many people claim that the people still running the government are Assad-like or whatever. He made a lot of claims about, and the stuff he said about about America's involvement in nation building was just fucking epic. The fact is that he basically shat all over the people who were talking about how we can go into the Middle East, bomb the fuck out of them, and then turn them into working democracies. And he glazed the shit out of Saudi Arabia for being prosperous and all this other bullshit by sticking to tradition, which obviously is a little bit of a bullshit because Saudi Arabia is actually a Western creation. And this is partially true. because we did back all of these motherfuckers, and they did not act like all the other kingdoms in the area. They stood with us, right? And though they're not westernized in our sense and modernized in our sense, I think Trump is both right and wrong in saying that, because they didn't turn into the West, as you can obviously see by the pictures. They didn't, but yeah. So bombing democracy into the Middle East was indeed confused and naive endeavor. Absolutely, and that's the thing that Trump talked about. Oh, here's the clip.
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionalists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
Fuck me, I'm muted. Oh my God. That's funny. Okay, so anyway. I'd love to know what the translators were ordered to say. That's a good point. That's a very good point. But I think he could speak English. So what I was getting at is that
your own destinies, and it's really incredible what you've and the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionalists.
Yes, this is true. And what I said earlier was that the reason that this is true, or not the reason that's true. It's one of the reasons why so many in the United States of America have PTSD over foreign intervention, is because of the stupid shit with the nation building and all that other stuff. And that George Bush Jr. originally ran on not being the world police. The United States of America should not be the world police, blah, 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 blah. This is what he ran on, and then he ends up fucking invading Iraq, of all things. And becoming even more the world police. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Working with Pakistan, of all places, to be the world police. And so my question was, at the very end, if the price of peace, is Trump wrong about them embracing their tradition and that's how they got to prosperity? Technically, yes, because they didn't. What they did was they made diplomatic ties with the West and then used that stability to prosper. They did it in very interesting ways, true, but if they were truly prosperous in that way, then they would have been so before the United States the West started intervening in the area. And not only that, they would have skyrocketed as much, if not more, than other countries in Europe or the United States for it. And in some ways they kind of have in many areas, but not in the same way. Like in Qatar, like, isn't it like 80% of the population is foreign born and they're like all workers and potentially slaves? But here's the thing. If the price of peace was for Trump to be technically wrong and to glaze this motherfucker, is that worth the price of peace? Because that's really what it boils down to, doesn't it? Because it's just like with any conflict. You can continue the war, you continue the conflict as much as you want. Minor nerd stuff in sci-fi prefix hollow is often misused. Hollow means entire or whole. Thus, a hologram is a projection of the entire object in 3D space, but an object capable of producing a hologram is not necessarily a hollow version of that object. One familiar instance is the prefix is the Holocaust, which refers to where cost means sacrifice. Oh, okay, I see. I imagine it was just, well, I mean, you say it's misused, but we're talking like 400 years in the future, right? Is it actually being misused, or did it change meaning because they're 400 years in the future? Do you know what English speakers sounded like 400 years ago? Just throwing that out there. Is it really misused, or is it a 10D chess technique to make you an ultra nerd? That's the real question. Now, obviously, you're right, and they used it as some kind of technobabble nonsense to sound like all futuristic and shit, right? Like, for instance, a hologram isn't a whole of anything, is it? It's just, especially in the holodeck, it's just a thing of light. Anyway, so this is. I'm really just nerd stuff. Yeah. It's, hey, man, if we're talking about like light physics, that's pretty cool. Specifically when that involves semantics, man, it's like peak nerd. No, it's the semantics of describing light. There you go. Stephen Lurch, greetings and salutations, my friend. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that, buddy. All right, so. What the fuck do I hope this leads to? Well, for the most part, what it looks like is that we might actually see some crazy shit happen between the US, Israel, and Saudi Arabia and the other countries in the area due to a fucking tiff between Netanyahu and Donald Trump. I'm gonna flip my fucking lid if he recognizes Palestine as a state. You know what else is funny though? Would Palestine as a state exist if Israel had lost the war? Or do you think it would be divided up between Jordan and the other countries that are around it? I do hope, I'm gonna flip my lid if he fucking recognizes Palestine as a state. I don't think he is. I don't really think that's going to happen. I think this is what this is to put pressure on other people like Israel, potentially, to be like, with all the shit that he just did in Saudi Arabia, plus this announcement, or plus this report, and then how the Netanyahu has said, I think we will have to detox from United States security assistance. And because of this, what we might see a split between America and Israel to the point where we're just not going to be involved in their bullshit anymore when it comes to Gaza. Or we may take more of a back seat and just let the fucking chips fall where they may, right? And circumvent the rest of these motherfuckers. Because he did say, circumvent those motherfuckers using the rest of the Arab states as a backbone to that. Now, whether those Arab states are actually going to keep their word, I don't know. We'll just have to see. I really hope something comes of this. But the real issue is that there is a lot of criticism for Saudi Arabia. They're not as quote unquote progressive as we'd probably like. Even the more conservative individuals in the United States would balk at how they do things in some instances, I'm sure. But I can't fault the leaders of these countries for trying to modernize and trying to bring their countries into the 21st century. Hopefully, that modernization will lead to them abandoning more barbaric practices. It didn't for us. We still do abortion, right? But maybe we could not do the indentured servitude / slavery thing. That'd be cool, right? We could get rid of that. Maybe we could make a more egalitarian society where the women who do want to be able to compete against men in intellectual and physical ways can do so without too much cultural pushback. That'd be good. Just like, it's like, I don't agree with radical feminism, but I do agree that a society is better when everyone in the society has the ability. How do I want to say this? For some reason I'm blanking. That everyone in the civilization, everyone in our civilization should have the ability to access education and power. That's as simple as I can explain it, but it's still not right. The freedom to seek fulfilling pursuit, that's close, but it's more like, it's not just that your society is better as in moral, it's better pragmatically. Because think about it like this. When it comes to like nations and populations, it's all a numbers game. So the more people you have, the more likely you are to get geniuses, and the more likely you are to have geniuses in science and things like that, right? So you need more people. It's like the larger population you have, the more geniuses you have. The larger population you have, the more people who want to pursue science. So those two things will overlap. And when you have geniuses in science, amazing things happen. When you have geniuses in a lot of places, amazing things happen, right? Engineering, commerce, you name it, geniuses. Guess what? Men are not the only geniuses. Right? Women can be geniuses too. Women can absolutely be the fucking crazed bitch who becomes the fucking CEO in a male-dominated hierarchy and bitch slaps everybody around her using cunning, guile, and sex as a weapon. Like, obviously, this is a trope for a reason, because these women exist and they are fucking awesome. Like, fucking Xena the Warrior Princess is the prime example of a woman who did such a thing. Now, obviously, it's a fictitious thing, of course, but when she appeared in Hercules, the original Hercules with Kevin Sorbo, the way she was the leader of a mercenary band who used cunning, guile, and sex as a weapon to achieve her position of power, and every man around her bent to her will, and she almost never emasculated them for it. Because she understood men. If she acted enough like a man who had giant boobs and could use sex, they would just be like, whatever, it doesn't matter. And it worked. It really worked until later, but we don't need to get into that. The point is that there are women who have the ability to do these things, and there are women who are geniuses. And so you want as many people in your population as possible to be able to pursue things that will make your civilization better. Pursuing science, pursuing any kind of like STEM kind of field is absolutely going to make our civilization better, just on a pragmatic technological level, right? Even if you then throw in other things like social science and in the advancements in culture and things like that, you can layer that on, but just in a pure pragmatic sense, you're going to get more prosperity, more money in your entire population if you can actuate more people into your economy. So if you cut half of your population out of the economy, i.e. you don't allow women to hold anything other than like meaningless work that's like childcare or sewing or, just stuff like that, low level stuff, and you never allow them to achieve science or upper echelons of any kind of corporate thing, then what you're doing is you're basically taking your half your population and you're cutting yourself off the knees. Because how many, is it going to be, are there going to be less CEOs than men? Yes. Are there going to be less women geniuses than men? Yes. That's what a bell curve is. Are there going to be less women who want to be that fucking power mad motherfucker who wants to dominate everything and fucking take us to new heights of awesomeness? Yes, there are going to be less of them. But there still are going to be women who are going to be able to do that. And you want them to be able to do those things in your society because it will make your society better. It's as simple as that. We should be encouraging women to procreate and have children. Because one, it's fulfilling for the individual. Two, it usually comes with a partner, which is also fulfilling to the individual and tends to make your life better if you choose properly. And three, it's good for society. Just like, men being self-sacrificial is good for society because we need a military that fucking works, and we need men that can kill people, and men that are strong and can kill people and will sacrifice themselves for the greater good are what society needs. That makes society a better place. And I 100% agree with that. I am meat for the grinder. Of course I am. I'm a man.